guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly. If you haven't watched my videos before, I just recently started posting videos a little bit more regularly. I'm working on sticking to a pretty every 2 week schedule, so make sure to subscribe. And I also have a fashion blog called Rosy Outlook, which I will link down below, but I consistently post. I do 2 outfit posts a week, and then on Fridays I do sort of beauty, fitness, lifestyle, all different types of posts. So definitely make sure to follow me there as well. But today I just wanted to film sort of like an everyday, more natural makeup routine. I did a makeup routine a couple months ago, and I've actually changed a lot about how I do my makeup. I try to keep it a little bit more natural. I use a lot of cream products. And try and keep my base pretty minimal for the most part. So I thought this would be fun if you guys are sort of new to makeup and just looking for a way to just boost your confidence and add a little something to your routine. And also if you're just looking for a way to sort of tone down your makeup, because that's kind of what I did. I was watching a video from a few months ago that I put up. It's the only makeup tutorial on my channel, and I was like, oh my god, I wear so much makeup. So I was definitely trying to tone it down a lot, and that's something that I've been focusing on over the last few months, is just keeping it very everyday and a little bit more minimal. But yeah, so I will stop rambling, and I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into the tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I have already prepped my face. I use a Caudalie serum, which I'll link down below. I'm absolutely loving that serum. I just discovered it probably about 2 months ago, and I've seen a dramatic difference in my skin. I have really dry and sensitive skin, and that one is specifically to help hydrate your skin, so I'm loving that one. And then I also use the Origins Ginseng Moisturizer, which is also really good. I've been using that one for years. So yeah, so I use that to prep my skin. And then for my base, I'm just going to be using the NARS Tinted Moisturizer, and I use it in the shade Alaska, which seems to be a pretty good shade. It's a little light for me right now, but that's okay. So I'm just going to dab that all over my face. I think the key with making your makeup just look natural in general is having a more natural base. And for me, I don't need a ton of coverage. I just have a lot of redness from having dry skin. So I just am looking for something to sort of even out my skin tone, and I don't really care that much about having a ton of coverage. I would say if you're looking for something with more coverage, this is probably not going to be your favorite. And then another key thing that I've picked up on over the last few months is with making your base just look really flawless and natural, and basically making it look like you're not even wearing foundation or a tinted moisturizer, is using a beauty blender to buff it out. So I've been using that instead of a brush. I used a brush for years, and I think that using a beauty sponge or a beauty blender just is a way nicer way to go if you're looking for a really natural look. So just blending that out. And this is the beauty sponge from Morphe. I don't know if they sell this anymore. I got it a couple years ago. It's held up pretty well. It's starting to fall apart a little bit, just from cleaning it pretty regularly, I think. I'm just using a lot, but it's really nice. I think it's a little bit cheaper than the actual beauty blender from Sephora, but I do have both, and I actually prefer this one. Okay, and then so we have the tinted moisturizer down. You can see that it looks really natural, and it doesn't cover up a lot, and for me that's fine. The only area that I really do want to conceal and add more coverage is around my eyes. I do have a lot of darkness, just from, I kind of have always had a lot of darkness. I have a lot of veins in the corners of my eyes, and just, yeah, so I feel I look tired a lot. So I'm going to be using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. And this one has a lot of coverage, so you really don't need to use a ton of it. That's something that I kind of learned after using it for a while, that I really didn't need to apply as much as I had been. It is full coverage. It doesn't crease. It's super nice. I really like this concealer a lot. And so this just adds that extra coverage where I feel like I need it without looking like too makeup-y. And I like using the sponge as well for this. I really have never liked using a brush much for concealer. I just think this blends it out so nicely and helps keep it from creasing. Okay, and then to set that, I'm going to use the Laura Mercier, this is the Secret Brightening Powder. I actually don't set all of my face just because I am so dry. So I'm just going to keep this pretty much right, right under the eyes. And then I probably wouldn't recommend using this to set your entire face just because it is very brightening. So I would suggest using their translucent powder if you're gonna set the rest of your face, because I don't think that has any color to it really. I used to use that under my eyes, but I actually found that it kind of made them look a little cakey and dull. And this one is just like so fine, this powder. And obviously it's meant to be brightening, and it really is, so it's really nice for setting concealer. And I'm just using like a little e.l.f. brush. I've had that brush forever. Okay. And then moving on, I'm going to be doing a little bit of like cream bronzing / contouring. I don't do like heavy contouring anymore. It's so funny because like I feel like it wasn't that long ago that I filmed like my everyday makeup routine. I think that was earlier this year, and like looking back on it, I'm like, oh my god, I was wearing so much makeup. I don't know how I thought that was like an everyday natural, you know, whatever routine. Like, it's funny because that was just a couple months ago, and like my routine has changed so much since then. I really want to look like I'm not wearing that much makeup. So, you know, when you just have one of those days where you like go home and look in the mirror and you're like, oh my god, like I wear a lot of makeup. And I had one of those like a couple months ago, and I was like, all right, I need to like figure out how to make this look a little more natural. But I do like to look a little bit bronzier, so I'm going to be using the Chanel, what is this? The Soleil Tan de Chanel. I hope I said that right. But yeah, this is just like the little cream bronzer contour. I have had this actually for a couple years, and I didn't really use it that much. I think the problem was I wasn't using the right brush for it. I felt like when I applied it, it looked a little choppy, didn't give me like a lot of color. So using this Sephora Multitasker Complexion Brush, these two together are amazing, and it just gives your skin such a natural like bronzy glow. So I just apply that in the areas that I normally would like contour and just sort of like bronze it up. You can see it just adds like a little bit, but nothing crazy. But yeah, this brush is so good for cream like bronzers. And if you are like on a budget and you don't want to invest in this, although I would say this is gonna last you a really long time. So if you buy it like, I think it's like 50 something bucks, you buy it, it's gonna last you like 3 to 4 years. I probably shouldn't be using it after that long, but it seems fine. But anyway, so if you don't want to invest in this one, the other one that I really like that's also super natural, and it's actually kind of easier just because you can like apply it directly to your face and then just buff it out, is the Hoola Quickie Contour Stick from Benefit. So nice. That one's a really good one too. I just like the color of this one a teeny tiny bit more. And then just going up around my hairline. Again, just kind of bronzing where I normally would with like a powder. And I just always put like a tiny bit on my nose just because when I have like a tan, I always get like a little tan going on my nose, so I feel like when I do that it just looks a little bit more like, oh, she's just sun-kissed. That could just be totally in my head, so. Okay, and then for, I'm going to do a little bit of like a cream highlight, and then I'm going to go in later with like a powder highlight. But for my cream highlight, I actually have this like little sample version of the Benefit What's Up, and I've actually really been loving it. So when I run out, I'm definitely going to be repurchasing it in the full size. I just do a little bit on the tip of my nose, and then a little bit in the corner of my eye. This stuff is so pretty. And it just like looks so natural. And I blend that out with my beauty blender. It just like gives such a natural glow to your skin. Okay, so next I'm gonna go in with blush. I actually normally just use a powder blush, but I thought today I would kind of just stick with like mostly cream products. And I actually really love this blush anyway. It's actually like, I probably only own like 2 cream blushes, and then the rest are all like powder. But this one is so nice. It's the Makeup Forever HD blush in the shade 420. Yeah. And it's just like a really pretty, like, I don't know, it's almost like a terracotta, like burgundy, I don't know, but it's really pretty. It just gives your skin like a really natural flush. And I use that with the Sephora Pro Angled Blush brush in number 49. This one is really good for applying cream blush. This is the one that I used to use with that Chanel bronzer, and I just didn't really like the way it applied the bronzer. I just felt like it wasn't as precise for like contouring, and it also kind of like sheared out the bronzer a little too much, but it is very good for cream blush. I feel like that's obviously, since it's called like a blush brush, that's obviously more what it was meant for. Okay. Alright, and then I'm gonna go in with a like powder highlight just to go hit like the high points of where I applied that Benefit What's Up highlighter. I'm just gonna go in with Becca Moonstone. I'm like fair enough right now that the shade works pretty well. And I also just really like it layered on top of that What's Up. So yeah, I'm just hitting the high points and then kind of bringing it up under my brow bone. And I just do a little bit more on my nose, a tiny bit on my chin, but nothing crazy. Okay, and that is the face, and we're just gonna go ahead and move on to eyes, which are super easy. Okay, so for eyes, I'm just gonna be going in with the Tartelette and Bloom palette. Basically, you can either use just like a highlighter or something in your collection. Any like bright sort of like cream shadow like this one, it's in the shade Funny Girl. This is one of my favorite palettes and just like one of my favorite shadows of all time. I actually used this whole palette on my wedding day, so I really, really love it. So I'm just going to go in with that bright color all over the lid. It's kind of like a champagne-y gold. It's really, really pretty. And like for my wedding day, to make it pop even more, I applied a cream like shadow stick first and then went in with this on top, and it really made it pop. So for any of you future brides, this is a really, really good palette for that. And then in the crease, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of this Rebel shade, but also like you could just use a bronzer. So but I thought I would just use this palette just to show you guys. I really like it a lot. I feel like if there's one palette from my collection that I like most and think is like the most worth investing in, it's this one. So just gently applying that in the crease just to add a little bit of depth and dimension. Okay. And then one thing I always like to do, I feel like just for my eye shape, and you can definitely skip this because I feel like maybe it takes away from the natural factor a little bit, but I just like the way it looks. I always like to take like a darker shade And I just put a little bit of that darker shade on like the outer corner of like the lower lash line and just sort of like buff that in, just because I feel like it really like opens up my eyes when I do that. And I just focus it mostly in the outer corner and then sort of blend that in. I just don't really like the way my eyes look when they're just like blank on the bottom. But I feel like using like eyeliner is a little too harsh. So this just gives like a little bit of like dimension, and also just like I said, I feel like doing it just in the outer corner really like opens up your eyes and makes them look bigger. So yeah, and then so that's all for shadow, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna curl my lashes. This is just it's a Kevyn Aucoin lash curler, but it's like literally the exact same as the kind that you can get at CVS, so I would not recommend spending extra money on getting one like this. If you're gonna spend money on a lash curler, definitely get the Tarte one. I really miss that one. That's what I used to have before this one, and I wish I had just repurchased it. Okay, and then for mascara, I'm just gonna be real. Like, I don't keep it super natural with my lashes. Like, I just love the look of like heavy, intense mascara. Like, obviously not like super clumpy or anything, but I just love the look of like really long, dramatic lashes. So that's the one thing that I feel like will never change, no matter how natural I'm trying to keep my lashes. And this is my favorite mascara at the moment, although I just tried a drugstore one that I really like. But this is the Dior Show Pump and Volume. It's so good. It's really a dramatic mascara. And I would say if you don't like mascaras that clump, like if you don't like even like a little bit of clumpiness, you probably would not like this one, because it does get a tiny bit clumpy, but like in a good way. If that makes sense. And something I kind of always do is like focus my mascara on like the outer corner the most, because I love the look of like the sort of like cat eye lashes. And I do apply it to my lower lash line. Oh, I don't think I mentioned what the drugstore mascara is that I'm liking, and it is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. It's like the newer one in the pink tube. It's so good. Like, first impression of it when I started applying it was that I didn't really like it that much, because it wasn't like dramatic right off the bat like this one sort of is, but when you like build it up to like 2 layers, it is nice, like really super pretty. And that one does not clump, so if you, like I said, like mascaras that do not clump at all. Like, you can see this one like does a little bit, but it almost just makes your lashes look really thick and like spidery, which is what I like. Don't use false lashes like ever. I don't even use them for special occasions. The only time I did was for my wedding. So, and even then I was like, ugh, I didn't love them. I don't know why, I just don't like them. I think like people that wear them and like do such a good job like applying them, it looks really pretty, but for me, like, I just don't want to mess with my natural lashes, because I do feel like I have pretty like good relatively good lashes, because they're pretty thick and like they're dark. So yeah, okay, so I'm just gonna go in and do my brows off camera, because I'm just not that great at doing my brows, honestly. I've gotten a little bit better at it, and I feel like I've gotten to the point where I can like, they've grown out more, so I can fill them in a little bit more naturally, but they're still like a long way from being where I want them to be. But anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that off camera, but what I usually use is the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in Chocolate, and then I just set them with the 3D Brow Tones from Benefit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so brows are done. I'm just gonna go in and do my lips. So for lips, I kind of like switch it up every day. I wouldn't say that like there's any colors that I use that I would consider like natural. I feel like if you're gonna wear lipstick, like people are gonna be able to tell you're wearing lipstick. So, but I just wanted to share some of my favorite like everyday colors just because I feel like they are really pretty if you have like an olive skin tone, like darker features. Just because I feel like for me it was really hard to find like the right nude, and I feel like over the last like year I've sort of found ones that work really well for me. So I really love like my favorite, I'm scared to say this because I love so many, but probably my favorite lipstick of all time is NARS Audacious Lipstick in the color Barbara. And then I also really like the MAC Cherish lipstick. That's one of my other absolute favorites. Recently I tried and really like the Tom Ford Blush Nude lipstick. That's also like a really pretty nude that I feel like would look good on like almost every skin tone, really universal. And then if I want more of like a brownish, like peachy nude, if that makes sense, I really love this. I don't know how you say it. Is it Ciate? Anyway, they sell it at Sephora, but I'll link it below. It's the Liquid Velvet in the shade Swoon. It's one of my favorites. I wore that for our engagement pictures. But yeah, so I'm gonna go in today, I think, with NARS Barbara, just so I can show you guys why I like it so much. And I'm just gonna line my lips with Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Iconic Nude. This is a really good lip liner. I actually prefer the MAC lip liners over these. I just love MAC liners. I think they're so nice. And I don't really like overline my lips. Or if I do, it's like not intentional because I have larger lips to begin with. Alright, and then just going in with the NARS Barbara. This is such a pretty color. And I feel like it is like a really good, it's not like natural, but I feel like it is one of those like Your Lips But Better shades. It's really pretty. Okay. And then I'm going to set my face using this Tarte Ready Set Radiance Spray. I have only been using this for probably like a month or two now. I ran out of the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray and I thought this one looked nice, and it was like $10 cheaper, so I thought I'd give it a try. I really like this because it does make your skin super dewy, so if you're oily or if you don't like that look, then I feel like you definitely wouldn't like this. It definitely makes you look dewy. The only problem is that when you spray it on, it like doesn't just like sink into your skin. Like I'll get to work and I'll notice there's like little drops still on my face like an hour later that haven't sunk in. So that's the only thing. But I do like the look that it gives my skin, and it is like $10 cheaper than the Urban Decay, so at least I think that's right. But yeah, I'm just gonna go in with this. Make sure you shake it. I don't know if that helps, but so you can see like all the like drops that are kind of on my face. Like a lot of these won't sink in, so I kind of like just tap them in. I'm sure I'm like not really selling you on this product because you shouldn't really have to do this. I want to try the Tatcha spray because I know that one looks really radiant, and I'm assuming it doesn't have the same issues as this one, but it's a lot more expensive, so yeah. Okay, so that is sort of like my everyday go-to makeup look. Relatively natural, using mostly cream products. If you guys have like dry skin, I feel like you're really gonna love this routine because by the end of the day, my skin still feels really hydrated because I didn't use a foundation. I used, you know, a tinted moisturizer, so that keeps my skin feeling really hydrated. And also I didn't use a lot of powder products. I used mostly creams. So yeah, and definitely like set your makeup after if you feel like you need to. I'm sure that would help it last longer, but for me, I just don't really like the way that looks. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.